I'm just playing. So, with all that, he's know-it-all, but he's trying to protect his mom, right? So extremely smart, challenging everything, citing legal authority, and I'm just like, gee, this is going to be fun. So it was a very challenging transaction. We closed the transaction, all works out, but she calls me with threats and says, like, I will never do business with you. If you did this, I've never caught you in a lie. I said, because I'm not lying and I'm not going to lie to you, right? But she's coming for the jugular on the phone, and I'm like, take a step back. And I just showed her, I said, listen, what would I have to benefit by putting your name and your information on homes.com? How would I benefit from that? Absolutely none, right? Like, think about what you're saying. So I had to get her to just pause. She said, well, I didn't think you would do, but she already came with that. I want to be like, just back off. Once I'm able to bring her down, then I was able to talk some sense, try to do some research, and it's still a tough situation. But then it goes to, okay, well, I am going to do business with you in the future. And in the back of my head, I'm like, there's no way I want to continue this, right? But I'm not going to say it because I have helped this person with two other agents who, I mean, everybody needs business, right? So I'm not going to, just because I personally got offended by a phone call, hurt somebody else's chances of a paycheck coming in the future when this person is going to do it. We just know what we're working with. Sharing that story and that example, because at the end of the day, how you respond to tough calls and tough situations and treat it like a professional in business and try not to take it personally and not just respond on the phone. These are the qualities that are going to make you a stronger leader. Does that all make sense? And I'm telling you, I failed plenty of times in my career, plenty of times, and I can't take back what I said after I got hit with that curveball I'm not expecting. One of the things my dad taught me, and he always taught me, always lead with integrity first. Always be able to look at yourself in the mirror at the end of the day. No amount of money is ever worth you giving your integrity up for it, right? He's taught me that. At the same time, he's also said, if somebody catches you with a curveball and you're not ready for it, say you got another call coming in and you need to get off the phone. Don't just react, right? Give yourself some time. Yes, that's a little white lie, but it is something so that you aren't caught in a position that you're not ready for something and then you react because somebody pisses you off and they hit a chord and then you just say what may be the truth but maybe not the appropriate time and place for that. Does that make sense? Yeah. So it's a very important thing to understand. Wanted to share those things. Let me take a step back. Who do we have on here? We got April. Is that April? What's up, April? Can I hear you? So we got April, we got Diana. Welcome, ladies. Glad to have you guys on here. We got Justin in the crowd. Justin's our newest. Let's see if I can move over here so you guys can see him.
There I am.
Hey, Justin.
Justin's our newest guy in here. So I guess let's start it off now. Now that I've gone off on my rant here. That is some of what I wanted to touch on today. But let's, if we can all just share a gratitude, get back to the state of gratitude, share gratitude, something you're thankful for, a win that's happened over the last week. And I do want to start with kind of an acknowledgement and gratitude with Sean. Ken and I were speaking about Agent of the Month, and both of us thought that you deserve to be the Agent of the Month. So just want to give that quick congrats. John, proud of you, brother. Thanks, man. Boy, to keep stepping up and working hard. And you got a lot of great things ahead of you. So just keep staying the course and keep rewriting that story that we tell ourselves, right? Keep that faith up and that belief, and it's so important. So just good job, Sean. I wanted to make sure I pointed that out. Also grateful for all of you that showed up and supported my dad, who was able to speak and do the veterans empowerment. Oh, it moved. Yes, it's still on. See, it likes you guys.
What can I say?
That's what happens. You guys can come up and teach the class now, because then it's not going to follow me. Come on, guy. Let's go, camera. Over here. So if you guys can think of your gratitudes or your wins while I'm trying to get this thing under control.
I'll go first.
All right, go ahead. Please start us, buddy.
Got a price reduction on one of my listings in Leisure Village. Actually, my client was the one that's been kind of after me to lower the price, but due to all the rain, I said, look, a price reduction right now isn't going to have that big of a reaction
Right.
because people are, you know, especially seniors, they're not gonna wanna come out
in the rain.
in the rain and, let's just do it a little later in the week. And so
Yeah.
today we lowered it to 850 from 885.
Good job.
And
Good
it's a really nice property and, I just need to get more people through it.
Yeah.
So
Well, that's a
if you,
huge step in the right direction.
yeah,
Yeah.
and then I have the other neighbor, I mean, the other owner across the street, same model,
Mm-hmm.
priced very close. And so I'm gonna
Good.
see if I can get a price reduction with him too.
Cool. Well, good luck with that. Awesome job. Any other gratitudes? Anything that you're grateful for? What we got? Ladies in the back. What do you have for us?
So grateful for Friday's event. I
Awesome.
thought that I was able to see a lot of us connect in a different way. To see Alma here, your dad, amazing.
Thank you.
It feels like home, and I'm very appreciative of the leadership and the motivation that the leaders give to everybody. Because I bet we come here and we leave with our hearts open and shining. And that's all about, you know, when you're working, you're out there giving your best.
Yeah.
And Friday was very special. I felt like the very good vibes
It's
for
great.
everybody. So.
That was awesome. Well, thank you for making it and being a part of it, and your energy is definitely contagious and a big part of that. So thank you. Please keep showing up and keep being who you are.
And one of my goals is to finish to do my exam next month so I can come here as an
You will.
agent.
You will.
And I will. So
That'd be a great way to start 2026.
Yes, starting fresh.
Awesome. Juan, anything you want to share for gratitude?
I have win.
Okay, what's your win?
Fires are key yesterday.
Awesome.
So grateful.
What's
The best family ever.
That's cool.
I mean,
Yeah, I heard they got pretty emotional about it.
they did. It
Good.
was, you know, they told me that besides having their kids, this was like a big deal for them.
That's huge.
Yeah,
And how does that make you feel?
really good.
You want to do it again?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's a lot more people that need your leadership. So keep doing it. Keep connecting with people. Keep leading from the heart the way that you are. And you got there's so many people that need great leadership and people who sincerely are looking out for them. Right. And again, you can do very well by doing that. So congrats. That's
Yeah.
awesome. Katie, you got anything? I'm just walking around so the camera can follow us here.
I mean,
Anything you're grateful for or?
I've been dealing with a really, really difficult, so I guess it's a win when I finally get her to, you know, without knowing the whole story,
Right.
she finally scheduled her escrow document signing.
Good.
It's the final thing that we need her to do to
Good.
close this.
That's huge.
Very long story short,
Yeah.
just been very, very combative with the divorce situation. It's difficult, it's hard for her, but for them, but
Huge one. Congrats. That's awesome. Thank you, Katie. What do we got, Ken? What you got for us, bud? What are you grateful for?
You know, my son Matthews, he lives in Utah. He just graduated from the University of Utah. And he sends this thing, he goes, we need to have a meeting tomorrow at 7 at night. We need to have a meeting at 7 at night. I thought he was gonna, I don't know what the announcement, I don't know what he was gonna do, so and my daughter's in San Luis Obispo at the University of, San Luis Obispo, Cal Poly, and then my son and my wife were at home. And anyway, we get on this call, and he just missed having the dynamic of a family. And he just wanted to talk as a group. But the point why I felt the gratitude was, I could see how happy he was. And you stress out worrying are your kids gonna be okay, without you? And I could see that as a growing man, even in his eyes, everything, the way he was talking and sharing, I could see, and I told him, I said, you look happy. And I realized that's all that matters. I can't, I wanted him to have all these great, financial decisions and all this, whatever, jobs and whatever at that age. And then I realized, I go, wait a minute. He's doing something right. And I could see it in his eyes. And the fact that he's putting this together, I'm just proud of him. And it was a good experience and I enjoyed it.
Thank you for sharing. Yeah, it's awesome. What do you got, Sean?
Yeah, so when I woke up this morning, like I usually do, instead of doing any work, I start scrolling on Instagram, Facebook. And the first thing I opened was Facebook, and the first thing I saw was Ken's post about me, and I'm just grateful to be here. Everyone here inspires me. I saw everyone, congratulating me. And it really helps because you can call it my brain, my ADHD, whatever you want to call it, to stay focused. And when I have like the leadership and the friends around me to keep pushing, it just means a lot to me. So I just want to thank everyone for always having my back. So it means a lot.
So you're impacting more people than just you, yourself, and your immediate family. It's people are watching and they're being influenced by it. You know what I mean? In a positive way. So just keep doing what you're doing, man. Not to add extra pressure, but now the spotlight's on you, bro. So
Thanks,
you gotta keep going. Anything you'd like to share in terms of gratitude or wins?
I mean, one big win, my girlfriend just bought a house this last week out in Moore Park. So
Congrats.
her first home, did it all on her own without any family help or anything like that, which I know nowadays with affordability means a lot, you know.
Less than 10%.
Exactly, yeah. So she's doing really good. I actually just moved in with her out in Moore Park, which is another win, getting out of my comfort zone, living in Ventura my whole life. So that's going to be an adjustment, but I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, one part of gratitude is a lot of my recent deals have come from my friends, family, my network, so I'm really grateful for them.
Cool. That's
Yeah.
awesome. Well, thank you for sharing those gratitudes. I'm grateful for your faith and trust in us and starting your next chapter here. You got some great things ahead of you, man. So it's not by accident that you're here. So
Yeah.
just know that.
Looking forward to it.
All right. Yeah. Thank you, Justin.
More park is best.
So you gonna say something, Ken?
Yeah, I'd like to know what, I'd like to know what your gratitude is and when, Brent,
I already
you'd like to share?
Yeah, I've already shared it. What's up? We got Nate here, man. Nate's in the house. What's up, Nate?
Freshly shaved.
You good?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna give myself a second. Can put me on the spot. I thought I already shared my gratitude, but all right, but it's gonna turn into a 30-minute lesson. Nate, any gratitudes, wins you'd like to share just over the last week?
I mean, yeah, there's a lot. I'm just grateful. I mean, God's blessed me in many ways. I've said kind of my journey, and it's just continuing to keep happening. Client of mine who has seen me in my journey, fitness and stuff, I helped him lose 50 pounds. So we had a celebration last week, and then his mom called me, and they have a bunch of money.
Nice.
They had no idea, and they wanted to invest in Lake Tahoe. I'll be flying up there, meeting with an agent to partner up, and looking for some partners and a lot of Airbnbs and stuff like that. So it was just neat. I mean, it was never even on the radar. It was more about his health and fitness. And then now it's turned in. And they've been clients of mine. I've done deals for them, but I just never knew how much bankroll they have. So it was just cool. So it was just a nice, like, just being genuine and just always there to help. The dad's in hospice, so he's not doing well. So I did a few things for them. And I don't know. I just think, like, one thing is I can say I closed a deal and I got a call and they're first time buyers and it's obviously gonna rain. And they haven't moved in yet, we're doing some construction, but their roof had like a little leak. And they're freaking out. And I'm just like, don't even worry about it. I'm gonna head over there. I'll jump up on the roof. I've got everything I need to do to take a look at it. I've got a canopy, like, we'll figure this out. And they're like, no, we don't, like, we'll call a roofer on Monday. I'm like, no, by then it already have done damage. Like, I want to stop it now. So they're in Ohio. I went over there, climbed up in the attic, figured out exactly where the hole was at, like, got to the leak, pulled it off, tarped it, did what we had to do, and then got it fixed completely yesterday. And then I found another thing that I noticed would be done. So, I just went ahead and did it, put a garage strip down to seal up the garage, and then got a really cool call. They're just like, well, you didn't have to do this. So it was just one of those things I was trying to explain to an agent yesterday that I was talking with, that even though the deal closes, like, you gotta always just be there if you truly care about them. If you're commission driven, like, get out of the business.
Yeah.
Like, the money's gonna come, and it always comes and stuff, but like, if you generally do the right thing, like, another blessing's gonna come your way. And that's kind of truly like what happened. It's just in every part of my life, I'm trying to level up. It's it's working. So my gratitude is just God. I mean, if I didn't turn to God in January, I wouldn't be here. So I've said that over and over, and that's just the truth. Like, on that journey at the beach the other night, I made a video, and I had over like 50 people send me messages of that video because they know the spiritual journey I've been on.
Mhm.
And I was like, if you don't think God created that video, then like you should change your perspective. And I had like a few people reach out to me and be like, I want to connect with you, like just to talk because I'm not in a place. So I don't know, then that's gratitude. That's just in itself. Like aside of business, which is having people reach out for that is awesome. That's worth more than a commission check.
Absolutely. It is.
We had something similar happen with, along those lines where you just never know, like you're just a conduit for God and you don't even realize it. But I had, because of my injury, my head injury, I was sharing with someone how I just wasn't right. And we had a particular agent that had a sort of like a fallen out with another leader who also had gone through one of these head injuries. And then that particular leader had apologized to me in the past because of his head injury. And but that was prior to my head injury. So I was like going, okay, I accept it, but it's still pretty brutal, right? But I accepted his apology. But after my head injury, I was like, man, I could see how this could be true. Like it was completely I was totally, not myself, and it was debilitating. So I had shared that story with, a certain agent. It made that agent call and heal that relationship. And they're good now. And then that leader called him back and gave this really, really long voicemail that was really heartfelt. And I was like, I don't want the credit for that. But that didn't happen by accident. And I started seeing the connections and going, man, like, how cool is it that now two people that were going this way are now together again? It was pretty cool.
Mhm.
Yeah.
No, Ken and I were talking about this just the other day, talking about, it's amazing to think of the ripples, you called it ripples, right? Like there's one situation, one thing that you either take action on and you do, you can speak somewhere, you can connect with somebody, you can just be the one to listen. And all of a sudden from there, it creates these ripples. And it creates these things that you start, if you visualize this water and ripples that are being created, that's what we're doing. Even with just this meeting right now, when you talk about leaving a place and just feeling so full of just love and openness and just you're opened up and you're in a good spot. You see, and you can tell my dad put a lot of time in when he did the Veterans Empowerment Workshop. He worked on one PowerPoint for 3 hours on his Mac and it just kept spinning and it crashed. Then he had to start completely over, and he didn't want to pay for PowerPoint, Microsoft PowerPoint. That's a whole nother conversation. He didn't want to do that, but he ended up having to do that because that's what he's comfortable with. And that's what he's always done his presentations. But he legitimately probably prepared, for no exaggeration, 10 to probably 20 plus hours the week of, to make sure, he said, it's too important. There's so much that needs to get out there that people aren't aware of. And we were concerned that not enough people were going to show up. I mean, to be, just blunt, we were like, well, is there enough time? We just got back from Miami. We're doing all these different things. Should we do it? Should we not? And sometimes I just get in this, I get a little bossy sometimes, right, Ken? Just a little bit, just a little bit. And I'm like, we're doing it. Like, we're doing it. It doesn't matter if one person shows up, we're doing it. I said, and I'm going to pay to have it all captured. So I hired Sal, my brother-in-law, to record it. It's not cheap to do that, especially for 8 hours. And he's still spending hours and hours editing, refining it. Like, if you see the video on our group me right now, share that to every veteran, every person that you know, get it out there, because there's so much information on there. And now it's even through, AI, you're able to get the transcript and get the outline so they can go just straight to that part, because it's an hour and a half of not the most exciting information, but you all were a part of that. lives were already impacted from there. He had a bunch of guys that he served in the military that were online that hopped on. There's another gal that knows 100 plus military different people across the country that she's getting it out to. This thing's just the impact it's going to have because of one choice and one decision. Like, you don't think of it as much, but Sean, that's what I'm saying. You're creating ripples by the actions of what you're doing.
Yep.
And it's just taking one step at a time, but that's all we want to do is maybe that should be our slogan.
And
We create ripples.
I told Juana last night, I said, we handed the keys to this person. We had to drive through hell last night. It was water flooding and the cars weren't moving and accidents everywhere. We meet him at the Starbucks. We have this gift basket. We come in there and they're standing there like this. Not like, oh my God, like they were just standing there. And I started looking at them and I'm going, holy crap, these people are in total disbelief that this is happening to them. And they literally came out of their pocket with $4,000. And they were like in shock. And then they called her up and said, other than having my family, this is the biggest moment of my life, of our lives. I just wanted to tell you that they called her. And I said, you need to journal this moment. Journal it, write it down. Because I could care less about the check and she couldn't either. But we changed those people's lives. Those kids will never forget her, ever, ever. And that impact, when you're having those rough times or whatever, if you reflect back on that, it gives you your purpose of why you're in this business. And that's what you need to reflect on. That you need to have those moments to go, what does it mean to own real estate? That's what it means. That's what it means. And even at your first time buyer class, that young couple on what they said.
Right.
I mean, if you could hear that recording, it was so impactful.
Right.
The guy goes, I'm a Mexican guy who's moved 8 times because my parents can never afford anything. I want to raise a family and I want to own a piece of the American dream. We're looking at Brandon and I looking at each other going, Jesus, like it was so well spoken.
So
I'm butchering it. He said it so eloquently and it was so heartfelt. And it's like, it makes us as leaders want to rise to people like, like what you're saying. It's like, even when you're feeling down about yourself and your own business, you're like, nah, it's not about me. It's about making.
Talking positivity, that was something. We have a men's group and there's like 25 of us. And last week, there was a lot of guys that have a lot of negativity going on. And I'm over here like, I'm like, hey, like, you guys know, I went from like suicide to like, I'm alive. Mm-hmm. So they're like, what? Like, what's going on? And I'm like, I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, you don't think every day I have stuff that can make me want to go negative? I'm like, I just don't allow it. I mentally taught myself to not allow negative thoughts to enter my brain. And if it does, I pull over, I get out of the car and I just start talking to God. People can drive by and think whatever, but that's what I want to do. And I want to have a conversation of the blessings that I have and why I'm here and thankful that I'm alive. And then that negative thought goes right out. Like, you don't even have it. Jump back in the car and you take off and they're like, whoa. I'm like, that's what's happening, because right now you guys are sabotaging yourself by your mental thoughts and creating stuff that's really not even there.
Yep.
So I'm the king of that. I've done that so many times in my business, in my personal life, everything. So you need to not micromanage what's going on. Just look at it and let's figure out a solution to that and be positive about it. Be like, I get to go fix that water leak for that client. Because yesterday I was sitting there and guys at my gym were going, you're going to go, dude, you close that deal. I'm like, yeah. You know how many agents have it? I've been one of those agents. I'm back starting. Like in April, I just started brand new. You guys knew I was $800 negative. So I get to go clean. I get to go mop their floor in their garage and I get to climb up on their roof.
Yeah.
That's my mentality now.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, right on, man. So going to that, it's just the positivity of it, of going out there, especially in real estate. That's what drew Gunner and his mom back to me, of being like, we trust him with like $10 million of our family inheritance to go and invest this money. And that's just based off of the positivity and how I'm promoting it and going about it. And I gotta be honest, like, I was never one to post about God or anything, because I just found him in January. But I have now just been like, I don't, if I lose a client or two or three, okay, I'm sorry. But this is who I am, and I'm not changing it. Maybe you like the old guy, but I don't like that old guy. I like the new guy. And now, I've lost a couple, I know, but look at what I got in return. So all I'm saying is like, just think of the positivity of what we're able to do in our business. And if you give that off to clients, they feel it, especially right now, the market and kind of the way things are, like, just try to make it positive. Even if the open house is slow, like, just talk about the positivity of like what you do. Make videos. Like April did a great job on one for me on Sunday, where the clients saw, like, they were like, that's your teammate? I'm like, that's fine. That's my teammate. She's a rock star. Did you see that video? So it's just stuff like that where it was slow in the beginning, and then she ended up having 7-8 groups come through with residential listing. So it's just, come on, let's be positive. We got this. It's gonna happen. It's gonna turn around, and it did. So that's just my own thing.
But crazy enough, I'm driving up here today and I'm listening to Bob Proctor, and it's on that subject. Honestly, like right now, today, I pull in and he's like, he's like, when someone says, well, I had it, and my wife, she ticked me off and she got me upset. She upset me. He says, that was, no, you that allowed yourself to be upset, not your wife. It's you. You have choices to make. You have a choice to allow and believe what people are telling you. You can listen to it and let it affect you, or you have the choice. Like, oh, there's a recession. I don't want to partake in that. I'm not going to allow that to happen to me. And he's telling you, he goes, if you make the choice, you have choices. You don't have to follow what everyone's telling you, what the masses are going. You can say, no, I'm not going to allow that person to affect me in a negative way. I'm not going to do it. You have a choice. Stop blaming other people, other things. Accept responsibility and make the choice to better yourself.
And it's the same theme of everything that's being spoken about, but what is it that Nate's carrying? What's the one word that defines what he's doing? What was that? Gratitude. Gratitude's big. Gratitude's a big part of the solution. It's
Brandon.
Attitude is your approach and your response to situations. So attitude, think of, what is my attitude before you go into any situation? How am I responding? Attitude, you can either have a positive attitude or a negative attitude. You could either realize that things aren't happening to you and you're a victim, but they're actually happening for you and you're being shown the way, right? It's your perspective. It's your attitude of how you approach every situation. That's exactly what he's talking about with Bob Proctor.
Well,
attitude.
it goes even deeper. You have your mind will take in whatever you want to take in, good or bad. But once it goes into your subconscious, that will grow and it'll cloak itself in whatever you put in there. So if you, like, it's the same as soil. You plant 2 seeds, one's poison ivy, one is corn. They're going to grow equally.
Right.
So whatever you decide to put in is what's going to grow, and you're going to put out that vibration. So if you're thinking, like, look at he's euphoric, he's happy. What do you think? That's going to attract people. It's attracting people. But if you're allowing your doom and gloom and negativity, you're going to portray that. Your vibration now will not attract people. It'll repel people. And it's proven and spoken about multiple times by everybody who's ever been someone. They all talk about it.
So what does, and I'm just curious, Justin, what do you think, spending this amount of time talking about what we've spoken about, why is this important to the listing presentation or what it is that we do? What's your understanding of it? Or does it even seem like, I'm just curious what your feedback is from it, from what you're witnessing right now.
Well, with all the gratitude talk and just it's kind of like The Secret, right? Where you're grateful for even having the opportunity to be in front of this person, to be able to represent them and make the best choice or help them make the best choices moving forward.
Right.
That's how I kind of see that tying into like a listing presentation and just your mindset going into that.
It is. And what it is that we do, as we talked about at the very beginning, our job is to grow as leaders. And as we grow, John C. Maxwell, he's written the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership, 5 Levels of Leadership. Read both of those books if you get a chance. But he talks about the law of the lid. And the law of the lid means that your team is limited by what level leader you are. So 5 is the highest level leader, and a level 1 leader is somebody who, well, I'm the manager, or I'm the owner, or I'm the boss. It's my way or the highway, right? You get the bare minimum from people. Yes, you have the title, but you haven't earned anybody's leadership or trust to allow you to lead them. That's level 2. Level 2 means you've earned the right to lead somebody, right? How do you earn the right to lead somebody? You find out what's important to them. You find out what their goals are. You find out what challenges and obstacles they have. It's coaching, it's training, but you take a sincere interest in getting to know somebody and trying to help them. That's level 2. So now they allow you to lead them. Level 3 is based on your production, based on your results. Nate's been #1 agent company-wide out of a massive independent company, right? Jen's done the same as well with Century 21. She was our #1 agent out of the entire office and just came, I don't want to say out of nowhere. Everybody knew she was great, but she was just taking it to those levels. So we have those leaders here that have shown on production and what happens when people produce at a high level. It starts growing in your influence. And now people are like, Jen, I want to be a part of your team. I want to be with you. Like, can you help me? Can you share with me these things? Because they've seen the results and they want to be like you. That's level 3. Guess what level 4 is? If you haven't read it or learned it. So 2 is earning the right. 3 is by production. What do you think 4 is? Think of the next level up of a leader. What do you think would be the next level? Anybody have any ideas? What was that?
Passing it down to other people.
Developing other leaders. Level 4 is your ability to grow other leaders, right? What do you think we're trying to do here? That's our goal. It's not to keep people dependent on us so that we can try to make money off other agents, right? The haters will say that. The people who don't get it will say that. The people who are just focused on themselves and how much money am I going to make, they'll say that because they haven't figured it out. You get blessed. I believe God blesses you when your focus is outward towards serving other people and being selfless to those people and doing everything you can to do right by them. The blessings flow. And you're a living example. All of us are living examples, but he's doing it at a very high frequency, a high level right now, very high level. And it's amazing to see. And it reminds us, and by us getting together and spending time and just plugging in, this is what happens. This is why it's great to see Jen and Gobi here physically. We know everybody's busy. If you're doing the right things, Katie, everybody, Leslie, missed you for a whole year before I finally was able to pull you back in, right? And Betty as well. It's just this whole group. Every single person that's in here. When Ken asks what I'm grateful for, there's not enough time for me to share all the gratitude that I have. And it starts first in thanking God, right? And I pray for, I'm trying to remember what it's called, but basically being able to have the wisdom to decide between what the truth is and what's not. That's what I pray for. I pray for wisdom. And I want to know whether people are telling me the truth or they're just trying to manipulate me into a certain type of situation. Doesn't create the best friend, right? I'll just tell you right now, because you can be a cynic, but I have to control those negative thoughts. And I have to just, if somebody's going to take advantage of me, it's on them. I can't live always being concerned or worrying like, well, this person did this to me and this person burned me and all they care about are these things. I can't live like that. That's torture, right? So yes, God's given me a brain, but he's given me a heart. And he's given me a heart to trust and to have faith and to grow and to try to share that. And the more that I can lead from here instead of here, good things keep happening. You get what I'm saying? So it's this lesson, if you want to call that, is the most important thing that I can even chat about as we talk about being better at our listing presentation, being better at our buyer presentation, figuring out what the script is or what the questions are. Most of you have heard that. the most important thing is what we're talking about right now, and it's leadership development. So level 5, just so you know, level 4 is developing other leaders. Level 5 is the pinnacle leader. When you think of Wooden, who here knows who John Wooden is? Who's John Wooden?
The coach.
Coach. Well, why is he known as a pinnacle leader? His reputation he's built, right? The organizations, the leaderships he's developed. You think of, does anybody know who Bob Welch is? CEO of, and you can look him up, CEO of Edison. I think it's General Electric, not Edison, General Electric. Bob Welch is another one. But these people, these certain pinnacle leaders, they have developed not only other leaders, but they've developed it usually over 50 to 100 years of leadership, like factory, if you want to call it that. That's level 5, that's the highest, but it takes just years of growing to that. So level 4 is where most people try to aspire to. Level 5, that's usually after you're gone and you become a level 5 leader. Some will say the Bill Gates, and they'll say Buffett, and those guys are level 5 leaders. What Napoleon Hill did, what Andrew Carnegie taught, he was a level 5 leader. So John C. Maxwell took these principles from Think and Grow Rich and then went off on it. And every other person that you hear of that's about personal development, that's what it is. So we spend a lot of time with that. Jen, welcome. Was there gratitude you wanted to share with the group? Anything you'd like to share or a win?
Absolutely.
Okay, let me move it over here. It's not following me. This thing's, go ahead. You can share it. I'm trying to make sure we got April. April, can you hear us? Can you hear Jen? Come on, follow over here.
Not yet. Uh-oh, now I see Justin. Hey, Justin.
And share what you can.
There we go.
Morning, and I'm telling you, I'm so grateful to walk in here and see every one of your faces. And this already is changing my whole day.
Yeah.
So thank you. I'm grateful for every single one of you. I looked around and literally scanned the room, like all the smiles. It just was like this huge weight off my shoulders.
We got you, Jen.
Thank you. You guys are so special.
You too, Gobi. It's good to see you.
You guys are so awesome. Yeah. It was like, wow, look how lucky I am. So I wanted to share that first.
Thank you. Let's see if I can move this thing over. I think we went past our radius here, but let's see if we can get it. Actually, I was trying to get off.
I don't cry either
I
because
know.
I'm dehydrated.
I heard that. You don't want to dehydrate again, over you. All right, now we got you, Jen.
Oh, I love you, Jen.
It was a rough one this morning, a lot of emotional, a lot of negativity, a lot of things on my shoulders that really are out of control. And so, family and things like that. And so to look around, I'm like watching as each one of you guys smiled at me. It was just like, wow, oh my God, that's exactly what I needed. So thank you.
It's because of what you do for every one of us. Selflessly, you never expect anything. You're always trying to help. I get emotional, and I talked about it already, you helping out and stepping up. And I asked you for my house, could you bring a couple of photos over? And she came over, she's moving, she's like, is it okay if I move this? Can I do this? And I said, please, I trust you with everything. Sell this like this is your listing that you're trying to sell. And so she did all the things necessary and we sold the house in 3 days in this market. And I give a lot of that to you and your touch from, it's so important when you talk about a listing presentation, from when you first approach the house, you have to look at what does that patio look like, right? And I have a dryer vent that shoots all that fun stuff out. So I had to clear all that out and do what needed to happen. But she was moving plants. Is it okay if we put this blue pot here to give it a little bit of pop? It's just who she is. And again, it's like, I gave her like 10 minutes notice. She was like, when's it gonna be? I said, the photos are like an hour. She's like, all right, let me run over and let me do it. She comes straight over.
By the way, I was
She
working.
She comes straight over.
What?
This is who Jen is. And I said, how much can I pay you? And she's like, nothing, So I at least had to take her to lunch. So we went and had some lunch and it was awesome. But it's, how much you mean to us. We probably wouldn't have made the move if we didn't have your faith, right? And that's how important your faith is, when you believe in somebody, just being good and being a good person, and you're gonna continue to just bless on a huge level. And as we grow in leadership, it's your influence just continues to grow every single day. So just know we're with you. I'm definitely praying for you for anything that's going on. Don't hesitate. It's the least I can do, especially if you need me to smack anybody around. I'm not that strong, but I can do it with words sometimes too. So just, yeah, but if there's ever anything, don't keep it bottled in. You do that for everybody. I know that in your family and this family here. So thank you. Yeah.
Thank you for that. And I really quick wanted to also just say how big I am for Gobi here. She's amazing.
You gotta
And,
stop texting, Gobi.
I second that.
she's super awesome. She's officially decided to join my team, which just made me so happy. And I love working with her. And we actually have our first escrow going together right now with a client that she brought.
Good.
Super amazing. And then we have clients that we're working together that we got at one of my open houses, and it's just going to grow. I can feel it. She has so much potential. She's amazing. She brings me a lot of joy. And like she even texts me and says, Jen, don't forget to eat. Jen, don't forget to stretch your neck. Like she tried to because she knows I had a big surgery this last year, and she's like reminds me not to forget what to do for myself. And it's like something that I don't get a lot of that from other people, and it's really special. So thank you for being you.
Gobi, thank you for sharing that. Thank you for being here. Gobi, anything you'd like to share for gratitude, wins, anything you'd like to share with the group?
Okay, thank you, everyone. Oh no, I don't want to cry. Okay. Oh no. I don't feel, I don't know, but I thank you,
Okay.
everyone. I appreciate it.
We appreciate you too. Thank you. You're good.
Why you mad?
You're good. I didn't think you cried. What's going on over here? And started a freaking blood work. Built in. So you guys know, I'm under just a little bit of stress lately, just a little bit, tap it, but it's not an excuse. You guys all know I'm a softie. Doesn't take too much. So, and now it's gonna be stuck on you all the time. So if you want to do the listing presentation, Jen, come on up and let's. You want to do it? You want to teach the class the listing presentation?
I would love to do it.
We'll do another time. All right. This thing's all tilted. April, what do you have for us? Gratitude. I see you
Oh
on
my
camera.
gosh.
Thank you for
Yeah.
being here.
So
Let's get-
I have so much to be grateful for. I mean, every single one of you in that office. I do feel like we are, you guys are a part of my family. I'm so thankful for Brandon, Ken, Nate let me do that open house. Everyone has been so amazing to me. I want to share, something that happened. I was sharing with you, Brandon, just something about like consistency
Mhm. We're here.
and just being kind and having a servant's heart. So I don't know if everyone knows I was doing property management a year and a half ago, and I haven't done it since then. And I just had an owner of one of the properties reach out to me. And to be honest, I don't even remember who he was. I mean, I talked to thousands of people while I worked there. And but he went in to talk with me about his situation and found out that I was no longer there. And of course, they didn't tell him, where I was or give him any of my information, but he took it upon himself to look me up and reach out to me. And now we have a listing appointment with him. Hopefully, Brandon, I'm praying that you're free on Saturday at 10. Um, but just, and it just kind of brings me to, you know what? I must have been nice to him, I must have helped him and, so it might not happen overnight, guys. But I promise you, if you stay consistent and you just, yeah, have that servant's heart and, give without expecting to receive and just stay consistent. All the things that Ken and Brandon have been telling us. Um, so it's happening and I feel that momentum and I'm just eternally forever grateful.
Awesome. We need you to say that all over again one more time.
Are you
I'm just
serious?
just kidding. We just got you connected on the speaker. We heard it faintly. Now it's like
Uh,
you got the whole room here. So You want to start singing
Sure.
karaoke? Get started.
Okay, hey, it's not
All right.
unusual. We love,
No,
right?
you don't need to start over. So it's, I
Okay.
think, could you hear it or, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she's got a great, amazing opportunity by the beach for potential listing. And it's, they went in looking for her at where she previously worked. And because they also sell real estate, didn't give her information, but she made such an impact on this person that he looked her up online, found her and was able to get a hold of her. And so they had a great talk. And she calls me as April. You know how she's always very upbeat and peppy. She's like, "Hey, did you just wake up?" And I'm like, "No, I'm actually on my way to go meet with a client right now." She's like, "How are you doing, Brand Dizzle?" And she's just very, it's what I need as you talk about just having somebody who's always looking out for you. April does the same for me. And she's always just very positive and just like, "Hey, what's going on?" "Well, I'm excited. I got this and things are happening." And it's just, it all feeds off each other. So just thank you guys for making the effort to be here. Thank you for being who you are. And we're going to jump into this now. Diana, sorry, I didn't want to forget about you. If you're listening, Diana, if you want to share just any gratitudes, we got you on there.
Hi, I'm very thankful for each and every one of you, never forgetting about me. Ken, I love you. Thank you for always reaching out and God bless you. Oh,
Awesome. Well, thank you. Thank you, Diana, for always
yeah.
just being who you are. It's been since you've joined the team, it's just we've just all gotten better. And
Thank you,
Ken would start
Jesus.
sharing certain things with me, and he's like, "You know what? I prayed. I think I shared this before." He's like, "I prayed for a client." I was like, "I've known you for at least 10 years. I've never," I said, "You sound like Diana." And he's like, "Well, so good job on
Amen.
influencing my partner in crime over here. So thank you."
Oh, by the way, if you
All right,
guys
God
have
bless
that
you.
little statue you bury in the ground to sell your home,
Oh,
I
yeah.
just bring Diana. She prays. It's like, literally, she has, and clients were like, "Were you praying that my house sells?" And I'm like, "Yeah, yeah." So say, "Yeah, I bring
Me?
Diana along. And
Saint Diana over here.
bury anything. It's a lot cleaner.
It's a lot cleaner. Just bring. All right.
That's
Well,
what
we'll
I
hire
say, Ken. I tell Ken, stop. Let's stop. Let's pray first and then we'll move on.
you. Yeah, that's awesome. No, thank you, Diana. So
God
you
bless
didn't
you.
know that you're joining a religious group over here, did
Did
you?
not know that.
Yeah. So hopefully we haven't scared you away yet because we like you.
I
So,
I
yep.
just wanna have some house cleaning thing, advice right now.
Okay.
So, in April's point,
See if it
guys,
comes
you
on.
need to go on the internet and secure your presence somewhere. And I'm telling you, as crazy as it sounds, as much as I've been preaching this,
Google search your name real quick.
Google search your name. And some people I go, and when I do these spotlights and I do these things, I wanna put something about you. And if I can't find you, if I search and the wrong picture comes up, why would someone hire you on a listing presentation?
Right.
How would they have found April if she didn't do that?
Mm-hmm.
Go in, start filling out your profiles on a lot of these sites, the Zillows and the Realtor.com and Homes.com. There's like a bunch that are free. Add your stuff on there, have links directly to your website. Trust me, you need a profile out there. You need a clean house on that. And a lot of you are really hurting on that.
Yeah, and adding to that, Real Satisfied. If you're not a part of Real Satisfied, we used to have that with C21. It's $15 a month. And then that'll link you up to Realtor.com. So when they do reviews, it automatically populates on Realtor.com. So Real Satisfied, great for clients, automates everything. You just put the email in for your client. They fill out a 5-star review and you can tie it to Zillow. You can tie it to Yelp. You can tie it to everything. But the biggest thing or why I did it is when people Google search you, it'll show your name with 5 stars if you have a bunch of 5-star reviews. Okay. So it's for the search. It's called Real Satisfied, REAL Satisfied. Okay. Make sure you do that if you haven't done that yet. So now that we've had so much fun with this mindset portion of it, let's jump into the skill set piece. Okay. So we got 15 minutes for the listing presentation. We'll probably go a little bit deeper than that, but just in starting out, I'll test the class. What are the 2 beliefs you have to have when you walk into a listing presentation? 2 beliefs. Sean, what's the number 1 belief you have to have walking into it?
I'm the best person for the job and I can sell the home.
Okay, so that's the 2. So the first one is you got to be the best agent for the job. Best for the job. You can't go in thinking I'm a brand new agent. You can't go in thinking that there are better agents than me. You can't go in thinking, oh, I'm scared because I'm competing against the person who farms this area. Your mindset when you walk in starts with your belief in yourself, and they will read and sense off of you whether you question yourself. Nobody's going to allow a leader who is not confident in themselves to lead them through one of the most difficult processes. So your very first mental check, if you haven't written it down, is I'm the number one agent for the job, period, right? I'm the number one agent for the job. And you can be a new agent, be the number one agent for the job because you're going to work harder than anybody else. You're going to tailor to their needs, find out, ask questions to know what they're trying to accomplish, and make sure that you're a tailor-fit suit that fits perfectly to what it is that they're trying to do. Number two, you can get the job done. Do you think there's some agents right now that are scared to take a listing? Let's be honest. Are there agents scared to take a listing? Are they scared to spend money on videos and photo and stage and commit to a listing in this market right now, especially for a condo with an HOA? Is there some hesitation there, right? You can't think like that when you walk in. You got to know you can get the job done. And the great thing is the pricing strategy we teach, the things that we teach guarantee that you can sell a home. How can I guarantee that I can sell any home on the market? Leslie, how can I guarantee that no matter what the situation is, I can sell that home? How can I guarantee that? That's a pretty strong confidence, right? Is that pretty high confidence? How can I guarantee and know that no matter what condition the home is, no matter where the location is, that I can sell any and every single property that's out there?
We have to price it correctly.
It always comes down to price. There's other factors that matter, but you will sell every home if you get it to the right price. Remember that. And understand that if your home's not selling, your property's sitting, it's because it's not at the right price, period. So every conversation you're having when you future pace on a listing presentation, I'm going to say something to the effect of, I will call my sellers every Monday between 3 and 5 o'clock and give them an update on the latest activity. How many offers we have in hand? If there are no offers in hand, how many showings we've taken, right? How many showings were during the week? How many calls for showings do we have? If we did an open house, how many people showed up? How many legitimate bites or interests do we have, right? And what other homes went pending on the market that we're competing against? So we're going to say where we are in comparison to our competition every single Monday. Why am I going to have that call every Monday? Number one, does that feel good when you're on week 5, week 10, having that Monday call, telling them the same thing? Well, no showings, no offers, no showings. Did 2 open houses, not a single person came through. Who here likes to make that phone call on a Monday, right? Nobody likes to. Well, why do you think I would look forward to that phone call? Why?
Well, when you're telling your clients, we're gonna connect on Monday, so the rest of the week, I'm gonna be working, basically, like, they know, like, Monday is the day, not to kind of bond you the rest of the week.
So that's one very important point. I'm future pacing so that I'm not on call from a pissed off seller every single day for the next 3 months, 6 months, however long it takes to sell this property, depending on what it is. I've already clearly communicated that I'm going to speak with them every Monday and give them an update, and I need to follow through and keep that promise. So it controls my time. So that's the number one most important thing. The second thing of what it does is every one of those conversations is always about price. And they get tired of hearing it until it actually works. Until you get it to the price and you hit, I call it the sweet spot. Once you hit the sweet spot, then you have enough showings and enough activity where you can either create at least one offer to multiple offers because we got it to the sweet spot, right? So when you keep the focus on price, and this is where I can guarantee that I can sell any home that I list, is if you allow me to lead you through this process, I can guarantee I can sell your home. Now, not every seller is going to allow you to lead them to the correct price, right? Sometimes you'll get some resistance on that. So I can't guarantee that I can sell the home if they put resistance on getting the price to the right price, right? Now we're just hoping and praying and wishing that somebody stumbles into this house and is willing to write on a price that we know is too high and every buyer knows is too high because they have access to more information now than they've ever had, right? They have access to that. So we're not going to trick anybody into anything. All we can do is increase our leverage and increase our influence and value and desirability of our property by pricing it appropriately. If you do it right out the gate, great job. And there's ways of showing that. And I did it a little bit in the homebuyer class where I show the average days on market. Does anybody remember what the average was for Camarillo versus the median? You had to guess. What do you think the average is? 60, right around 60, right? What was the median? Right around 30, okay? So this is for Camarillo as of last month. Average days on market was right about 60 days on market. The medium is 30. One of the things you'll see, Justin, that we pride ourselves on and what we all strive to be is experts with the data, the market info. You should always know average days on market. You should know the median days on market. You should know what the absorption rate is. What was the absorption rate? Do you all remember roughly where it was at in the class? What was that?
Like 3.5.
It was right around like 2.4 to 2.6. Okay, it was the absorption. It was under 3, but it was right around, if I had to guess, because I know it was 2s, I'd say 2.6 because it was getting close to 3, right? And the absorption rate is what? What is the absorption rate? Do you remember, Leslie? How do you explain that to your clients when you see 2.6?
Sell all the inventory that's currently on the market today.
So 2.6 months to sell all the inventory that's on the market today. If no new listings came on, it would take 2.6 months to sell based on the average days on market and based on what's moving. That's how long it would take. So what does that mean? What does 2.6 months inventory mean to a seller or a buyer?
It's still not that, it's still not a lot of inventory.
Sure.
Isn't a normal market about 6 months?
So 4 to 6 months is a neutral market, right? So it's still a what market?
It's still a buyer's market.
No.
I mean, I'm sorry, seller's market.
So you're going to hear a lot of people on social media say it's a buyer's market right now. So at least in Camarillo, still a seller's market, right? But with some caveats, with the twist, okay? So now where it was, and this is where you have to, when we do our listing presentation, we have to talk about, and you have to become very good at being able to say where the market was, where it is, and where it's heading. This is a big part of your presentation, okay? As we prepare, we talk about when the market was at 0.6 months inventory, when the interest rates were super low, and when they're going off comps that are up the street, like we did Sean on the Moore Park, where and he got very personal about it because his house is beautiful. And he's like, well, you're telling me I can't get 890? Well, why did such and such agent get 890 up the street for the exact same model? And it sold how many months ago? Do you remember?
No.
It was about 3 months prior, probably closer to 6 months, right? 3 to 6 months prior is when that one closed. Well, what was the difference in the market 3 to 6 months versus today? What would you say? Does anybody have any idea? Was it better or worse? What would you say, Nate? 3 to 6 months ago, comp is at 890. You got a model match. You're pretty close to it. The other one did a little bit more in staging. Would you want to try to go for that price? Would you want to try to go higher than that price? Or how would you price that one at 890? If the last comp model match was at 890 and you had to sell the home because you're selling this to buy another property, how would you advise them to list their property?
So they're gonna buy another property?
They're going to buy another home and it's a competitive situation, 14 offers. You got to list your house. You got to sell to the other agent that you're going to sell your house pretty quick. The last comp went out at 890 and it was almost a model match, literally right around the corner. You might be on a little bit busier of a street. How would you price it? Would you price it at 890? Okay, so that area, this is in Moore Park. Moore Park area. Yeah, so there was,
I just know what, like, the market I'm working in right
Yeah.
now, it's different, it's up, so we would price that up, just knowing that there's buyers.
yeah, no, it is neighborhood specific. Okay, it's neighborhood specific. What our advice was to this particular client was to go under it. And he was like, well, it was 890 before. Why can't we get 890 now? I said, you said you were willing to go up to 1.2 on your purchase, right? We got it at 1125. So while we're trying to shoot for an extra 20, 30,000 here, let's make it more aggressive here because you didn't spend as much on your purchase, right? Let's price this a little bit lower so that we know we sell it in the first weekend. So we went 850. Guess where the offers came in at?
75 or up there, higher.
Actually, it was 850, 860 twice. And we had one of the 860s only had 3.5% down. The other two offers had about 150,000 down each, more than 20% each, all three great agents. So this is something important to know. Based on where you price the property, offers that are coming in, unless it's an obvious steal, and we thought that was priced super aggressive at 850. We didn't tell him he'd get 890 or higher, but we thought it was going to shoot up. It didn't. And we had, how many people did you have in that open house that weekend, Sean? 80 to 100 people come in. Only 3 offers came in. It's in Moore Park. You know, again, each city's different. There was only about 60 active homes. That's pretty low inventory. We figured it would do that. But guess what that $850,000 price point is for a lot of Ventura County? It's about as high as most entry level buyers can go, right? You got to know what the PITI is with 20% down. Guess what the PITI is ballpark with 150,000 down? Just guess. Any guesses? 5, closer to 6, right? It's closer to 6,000 a month mortgage, and that's with 20% down. This property is a little over 1,400 square feet, 3-bedroom, 2-bath. Nice neighborhood, but still kind of not a busy street, but not on a cul-de-sac location, right? It's right on the corner there. So that all being said is buyers can only go so high, and this is single level, completely fixed up and clean, had a little bit more than a 3rd bedroom, like it had an add-on to it, had like a little ADU type deal in the back that was just an office that he bought from Costco for like 10K, but it had AC in it, had a little AC, he had a gym, he had a desk, very nice hooked up little extra space in the back. And the total lot was about 5,500 square feet. I'm sharing all this because it's relevant, and you have to be careful, even if you think you're going lower in price. Offers that are coming in 10, 15 over asking, unless it's like what they wrote on that was listed at 950 in a 1.1 neighborhood. So like what Nate's talking about in Ojai, 100% accurate, right? Newberry Park, homes listed at 950, all the neighbors are at 1.1, 14 offers, went out at 1.125, and they didn't counter us up. They could have. We put an escalation clause. We put that we'd go up to 1.15. But they felt that they've been blessed enough at 1.125 and took it. And they took our offer. We wrote it non-contingent because we had a bridge loan. These are some, things you can do. We did a bridge loan, but we still sold his home in 3 days. He didn't have to use a bridge loan. And we closed it quick. Closed his sale. It fell out of escrow once and still closed it in 21 days because we had the 3 offers. Yes, Kim?
Well, and what helped, the price point is, yeah, they only got the 865, but they got a free month rent back and then another month for 3,000. So that if you minus 3 from 12,000, which is the mortgage that those people are taking on, that's an extra 9,000 right there.
So better terms also. And what was their repair total that you got on that house? And there were things that came up on the inspection. How much did your sellers have to pay? $0. So they didn't pay a dime in negotiations and repairs. But we pre-negotiated all that up front before we canceled our first one, because they came in taking it as is at the 875 mark, higher price. After 3 days, I want a $20,000 credit because these things need to be done. And we told him, we said, this is a multiple offer situation. Are you sure that's what you want to ask for? He said, yep. So we were thinking about giving 10. And then our client calls us up, and Sean's client basically says, you know what? We didn't sit right with that. We don't feel right about this. And we're going to go with the second one. I said, it's 10,000 lower. You understand that, right? They're like, yeah, see if they'll take it as is. So we call them up. You take it as is. We'll give you the reports. Take it as is. Don't ask for anything. We won't counter you up in price. Do you guys still want the house? Yes, we do. And it was an easy transaction, very easy with those people. But we did all the right things up front. Now, we could have tried to go for 890. Do you think we still would have had 80 people come through that open house? And do you think every person they saw on the Ring camera said, oh, we gotta write on this, and we gotta write quick, and we gotta write over, that's what you want. It's not, and this is something I say to get over that objection with these sellers. I say it's not what it's listed at, it's what it sells at. Don't get stuck on the list price, right? Just like for buyers, don't get stuck on that price. Get stuck on the payment. What monthly payment can you handle? Because people start negotiating all on price, and that's not the most important thing, right? It's the same thing with listing a home. It's ego of why I want to sell for 890,000. Just, well, they got it. My house is better than that. We should get more than 890,000. So we had in a very highly analytical person who's extremely intelligent, knew his stuff, and was not afraid driver also, not afraid to hold back, and would just tell you exactly how he felt, right? And through that process, and what Sean did a great job of, and this is what we do when the listing presentation starts. What do you do before the appointment? Before you actually go to the listing appointment, what do you do?
Prequel.
Pre-qual, what is that?
Call them up and ask them those questions.
Well, how does that go? How does it sound, Sean? How, let's just do it real quick. You're calling me up, I'm the seller, right? I'm the seller, I'm this seller, this exact seller. And we have our listing appointment on Friday at noon, okay? So you're calling on Thursday, right? Okay, so go ahead, ring.
Hey Brandon, how's it going?
Good, what's up?
Nothing, I just wanna confirm our appointment tomorrow at 2 p.m.
Appointment at 2 p.m. Yeah, we're good, man. We're excited to have you, bud.
Awesome, so before I come out, can I ask you a couple questions just to get a little better prepared?
Sure, what's up?
So first off, I'm just curious, do you have any other agents that you're gonna come out and take a look at your property?
Yeah, we have two others.
Awesome, is it cool with you if I get their names?
What do you need the names for?
Oh, I just wanna, do my due diligence, so when we come out, I can be better prepared. Does that sound like something that works?
Sure. Yeah, it's Randy and Billy Bob.
Awesome. And when me and my partner come out, are all the decision makers gonna be there?
What do you mean by that?
Well, who's listed on title? Is it you or is it you and your wife?
Oh, my wife and I. Yeah, we'll both be there. And we have our kids too, so that's right around the time we put our youngest to bed. So, I'll be there mostly, but she will be around and be able to ask some questions and things too.
Okay, that's great. And we'll try to do our best to be quiet and not wake up your little baby.
I appreciate that.
So real quick, I just wanted to ask, do you guys have a price point in mind?
Yeah, 925.
Awesome, 925. And just out of curiosity, where did you guys come up with that number?
I watched the comps. I saw something sold down the street for like 890, and ours is a lot better than that one. So we think that'd be a great price for us at 925.
Great, 925, okay. Real quick, is there anything else that you have questions about before we come out?
Just what you're gonna charge commission.
Yeah, everything's negotiable. We'll have a conversation about that when we meet in person.
Okay.
Great, I think that's it. I don't know what else I was gonna ask.
No, well, I saw your intake sheet, so you went
Yeah, it's
deep
a
into
lot
that.
more
But
in-depth,
from what you could hear from there, what would you say are just if people can say 2 or 3 good things that they heard from that conversation? 2 or 3 things they liked or they picked up on from what Sean did. What would you say, Leslie?
First of all, good job, by the way, Sean.
Oh, thanks. I haven't memorized.
No, but this was a real situation of what he did. He did make the phone call before. What I love with Sean is he types all the notes up of the conversation. So he gives me all the notes before we go and meet with him. And it's like I already know a lot about them already beforehand. And I know he had more questions than that. But what other things did you like that he did or how he handled it?
You mean the questions that he asked?
Questions, just the whole thing. How did he sound? What was it like? If you were on the other end of that, would you feel comfortable with what he said?
Yeah, I felt like he cared. He
Mhm.
cared about what we thought, asked us about pricing.
Right.
So he kind of felt like he's not gonna just come in and tell me what to list my house for, like, I have a say.
And did you pick up on pricing? What did he do well with the pricing question? What were some things? I know, Ken, I know you picked it up. What would you say with pricing? How did he handle that?
Well, the minute you can get someone to tell you a price like that, you're ahead of the game. So that was was like really good. Thanks, Hannah. And then I like that you asked them how they came about that.
Yeah.
That's the most important thing.
So you want to try to make it not sound like an interrogation, right? There's got to be a certain level of trust that you create, and he's had trust. He's coached with this particular seller, so they gone back. And when you have a certain level of trust, you can kind of get deeper. But what you're going to find out is when you can ask tougher questions in a way that people don't feel you're interrogating or judging them or anything negative or trying to manipulate them, and you can get them to open up, the tougher the questions you can ask, odds are your competition isn't able to ask those questions. So if you can do that at a high level, you're going to be very persuasive and get some key information that's going to give you a really strong shot at tailoring that presentation when you meet them at the actual appointment. So there's a guy that spoke. It was a Mike Ferry panel. He was extremely analytical. He spent over 30 minutes on every pre-qual call. His conversion was like over 92%. No, you're good. It was over 92%. But he legitimately was 30 to 45 minutes on there, and he just had a series of questions. And most will start with like 10, 15 questions. His was probably like 50, which sounds like a lot, but his conversion was so high because he got all the information and he used the questions at work that gave him the answers to what he needed. He also asked if you're interviewing other agents. But the best thing he did on price is he didn't talk about price or commission on the phone. He talked about it, he didn't challenge it. He didn't try to get them to change their position on price. He didn't try to get them, he didn't commit to a commission. He said commissions are negotiable, and that'll be one of the first things that we cover when we get together. And one thing I say is, I promise commissions aren't going to come in between us working together. Right? So when they hear that, they just want to hear that you're willing to be flexible. Well, what's flexible? They don't know what my starting point is. They don't know where I'm willing to go. But if I commit and say, well, yeah, you know what, you're a friend of mine, I'm going to do it at 5%, total, or, all we have to worry about is our side. I'm going to do it at 2.5% our side. I did this before. I made the mistake thinking because it was a referral. And I was like, yeah, normally I charge 6, but I'll do it for 5 for you since you're a referral from your friend. I finished the whole presentation. At the end of the presentation, I'm thinking, I knocked it out of the park. This is done. Like, we got it. And I said, all right, you ready to get started? He's like, well, no, my wife and I need to at least interview 2 other people. And I was like, really? I said, oh, I apologize. And this is legitimately what I did. I said, I apologize. I obviously didn't do a good enough job of showing you what I'll do to make sure I sell your home for top dollar. He's like, oh, no, you were great. You're very professional. So this is what happens is people don't ask the closing question. They don't want to deal with the rejection. They don't want to deal with the answer. And I wasn't afraid of it. So I'm just like, oh no, please share I apologize. I didn't do a good enough job of sharing with you what I do to make sure that my clients are best represented and get the best terms. So please help me understand where I missed it, basically, right? And he's like, oh no. Well, you told me on the phone that you do it for 5%. I'm sure I can find somebody who will do it for 3.5%. That was that was the only objection. It's called isolating the objection. So then when I said, okay, so let's put aside the commission at 3.5%. I didn't say I'd do it. I said, let's put that aside. Is there anything else that you would hesitate in working with me? Is there anything else you're concerned about? Something with my marketing, with the way that I represent my clients, the brand, whatever, right? Is there anything else? No, you're great. I can tell you're great at what you do. It's only, I'm sure I can get it for 3.5% with somebody else. I said, well, I appreciate that. I said, you know what? Actually, I got somebody on my phone right now that I guarantee will do it for 3% for you. You want their contact info? I'll give you their info, right? I said, can I share with you why that concerns me? He said, yeah. I said, is this the most important investment that you have right now? He said, yeah. I said, so you making every penny from the sale of this property is very important to you? He said, yes. I said, well, that's what concerns me. Because not all agents are the same. And I know right now, if I list your home at this price today, that I can guarantee that we're going to sell it for more than this price today. I said, but things can change. You know what's crazy about it? Well, first of all, I leave the paperwork with them. I said, I appreciate your time. It was great meeting you. If you want to get started, here's my paperwork. Here's my commission. I stuck to what I told them on the phone, the 5, but that's where I screwed up. because I said 5 on the phone. Whatever I said, he was gonna try to work it down, right? And I said, well, when the two of you get your chance to talk to your other agents and figure it out, then let me know and I'm ready to get started. But what I said, what is a concern is if he uses somebody else for the lesser commission to try to sell the property, 3.5%, what are they gonna offer the buyer side at 3.5%? What are they gonna take 1 and offer 2.5? No, probably gonna offer 2, right? So we're talking the scenario out as he's trying to play it. And I said, but the biggest thing is if you call me after your home doesn't sell because you went chasing to try to save as much money as you could, when you call me 6 months later, we're not gonna list it, this was a townhome at like 410. So now we're gonna have to list it probably at like 385 because it's got a negative stigma with it for the last 6 months. So the only way I can increase that is if we increase commission on the buying side and drop the price, and it's gonna cost you a lot more money. So, but you know what? I appreciate your time. Here's my paperwork. Wish you guys the best. Next day, get the call or actually the text, hey, my wife and I talked, we want to work with you. And we want to hire you and we want to do this. And yes, we're good with 5%. Took it at the 5%. Did it again. Another one competing against 3.5, took it at 5%. Nothing crazy, but it's sometimes they're just told this is what we have to do. When you understand the value in what you bring and that your job is 4 main things. We talked about the 4 main pillars. What are the 4 pillars? Sean, what's one of them?
The
4 main things you do as a listing agent. Come on. See me know. I'll help you with it. What's see me know stand for? Oh my gosh, you're failing at this one, but you're good. See me. Come on. No, Sean. This is how I got grilled in friggin' law school. So this is my chance to do it back, right? To get you to think under pressure. Because when the business is in front of you, this is when you want to know. Right now, this is just figuring it out. See,
Confidence.
consult, and advise. Number 1. Okay. Do you, Mr. or Mrs. Seller, do you know what a top listing agent does to sell your home? Right. 1, my job is to consult and advise you, to guide you through a very complex process, right? We have 2 supporting things after consult and advise. Number 2, guess what 2 is? ME, market and expose. My job is to market and expose your property at the highest level possible. The good news is when you list with me, it syndicates out to thousands of websites, and your property is going to be seen across the globe. EXP is on 6 to 7 continents, right? It's translated into their currencies in different languages, and you will get no more maximum exposure than list your home with us, right? That's the great news. So maximize your exposure. That's number 2. Number 3, negotiate the best terms. It is my duty, it's my stewardship to negotiate the best terms, not just on price, but also in terms of timing, getting through repairs, the appraisal, right? All these different things to ensure that I protect your hard-earned money, right? Number 4, to oversee the transaction. Did you realize, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, that on a national level, most properties fall out of escrow and you have to sell it twice on a national average? Did you also realize that more than 150 phone calls are going to take place from today to a successful close of your transaction, right? So Mr. and Mrs. Seller, which of those 4 things is most important to you? So there's a few things I did with that. 1, you got to be concise and to the point, right? Consult and advise. 2nd, market and expose. 3rd, negotiate best terms. 4, oversee the transaction. That's on the listing side. Everything you do on the listing side ties to one of those 4 pillars. Open houses, marketing, everything you do will tie to one of those 4 pillars on the listing side. On the buying side, it's very similar to those 4, right? What's the only change?
You're not marketing, you're selling the property.
You're finding them a perfect home, right? So instead of marketing and expose, you find them the right home that fits their payment budget, that fits their needs, and you're going to find them the perfect home. So first one, still consult and advise. 2nd one, find them the perfect home. 3rd one, negotiate the best terms and oversee the transactions. Number 4, right? It's the exact same thing. Communication comes up in that conversation, but more than anything, remember, telling is repelling. So when you're able to sum it up and be concise, then you ask them the question, which one do you like most? Or what is it that you like that I'm gonna do when you hire me to sell your property? They're gonna say, we love what you said about marketing and exposure. What is it about marketing and exposure that's important to you? So you tie them down by asking them questions that they realize they're selling themselves on you as you go through the process. Now, in reality, I don't typically, I'm just being, again, completely transparent. I don't go through the 4 pillars and say 1, 2, 3, 4. I've done that before. And it didn't come off right. It was somebody who I knew for a long time. And she's looking at me like, what the hell are you trying to sell me right now? Right? She did, because it sounded too robotic. So what I do is I tie it in my questions, the way I ask the questions, and I'm always focused on those things. But I know when I walk into a listing presentation that I need to figure out what's going on in their head, what are they concerned about, what are their worries, what are their fears before they will commit. And if I can discover all those things that are going on in their mind, and I answer all those unanswered questions, that's what an objection is. An objection is an unanswered question in the mind. Well, we have to figure out what that unanswered question is before they'll commit. Does that make sense? So the objection handling, but the discovery is the most important thing you do by a series of questions. And that's what we'll continue to work on and refine as we go through the process. Does that all make sense? Everybody, am I saying anything that seems wrong or I'm completely off base with it? As my friend Ken likes to say, the truth is the truth, right? Or you can't handle the truth. Which one? The truth is the truth. The truth is the truth, right? You want to add to that,
I
Mike?
did want to add, something that just happened and it's currently happening in today's market. I have, you all know I have sort of a different approach when I go through, but,
Mine's better.
this is better. But I like to have a meeting and walk and ask questions and discover prior to even doing anything. I don't really want to talk about price or anything like that, but that's not what I wanted to say. Recently, I had a listing, we priced it correctly, we cleaned this place up, sold it was in Sun Valley, sold it right away, had multiple offers. And I was putting on my open house signs, and this guy was walking, he stops me, he said, hey, are you the agent on the house? And I said, yeah. He goes, I got a question, but I have a house up the street, but it's not selling, it's been on the market forever. But I have a question about something, and I said, well, what do you need? And he goes, well, I have an agent. And I go, I don't care, buddy. You're like, what do you need? Let me help you out. Gave him some contacts, helped him out, whatever. That thing expired. He calls me up and he says, hey, I appreciate you helping me out, and we'd like to meet with you. So we go over there and start talking to him. I'm not going to get into the whole listing percent. I don't want to divert. The point I'm trying to make is, I knew they were going to work with me. They were already sold on me. And the first thing I said, hey, when you're hiring someone, you're hiring a marketer. You're not hiring a realtor yet. You're hiring a marketer. We're here to expose and price, get your house ready for show. And I said, we're going to have to do some things in your house that's not correct right now. Like we have to, cut down the table, clean this up, fix the floors, paint this. And he goes, oh, Ken, I'm desperate. I'll do whatever. I said, okay. And we went through, did the whole thing. We priced it properly. Guy calls me up and he says, hey, Ken, I just want you to know something. He goes, it's night and day compared to our old agent. We didn't know that we needed to do that. We needed someone to tell us, change this, clean that, do that. I was taught a long time ago when I started the business, don't be afraid to take charge. They're hiring you as a leader. You need to tell them, clean this up, change that, clean the windows, fix that. If you're afraid to take control of that situation, and you got to let them know that you got the people, that you'll handle it, because they're overwhelmed. But you say, look, we got to do this. They were getting these quotes that were ridiculous. We ended up painting the whole house inside, not all of it, but doing a lot of painting. All new vinyl floors in the kitchen, painting some of the outside, pressure washing the whole thing, $2,500. And we painted even the kitchen, the vanity cabinets, and they cleaned up the kitchen cabinets even. $2,500. The other part that was very important is, because it had that stigma, I listed, people are coming in, And automatically, they're like, what if I offer, it was listed at $959, they're all, what if I offer $850? What if I, you know, and they're coming in like that right off the bat. And I go, you got the wrong house. This is the best price house in all of Sun Valley. Look it up. And I firmly believed it, and I kept telling people that. We had a person that came in and wrote an offer. We counted him 10,000 higher. The agent calls me, he goes, look, Ken, he goes, he was at 9. I got him, I got him to go to 920. You counted me 930. My client went from 959 to 930. And he wouldn't come up. So my response to him was, your client obviously isn't serious. And I said, obviously, over 10, if he's willing to lose it over 10,000, then this isn't the house for him. Well, the next day I sold it myself at the open house. The point I'm making is you have to stand behind the home. You have to stand behind what you're saying. You can't just buckle and say, oh, maybe it is priced too high. Maybe, you know, like, no, this is the right price. You guys are crazy. That other price, find me another home that's priced like that. I kept like pushing and pushing. Same thing. This guy had the Ring doorbells on. He calls in. He's like, man, he goes, I can't even tell you. Our other agent wouldn't even talk to these people. Didn't take control. Didn't have that confidence. It's like you're the expert, guys. You have to take control of that. You're gonna find that as this market is adjusting with that price correction. That doesn't mean have a field day. Like, take control of the market. Take control of the house. Put it in the condition that it needs to sell. That's all I wanted to say. I don't want to get into too much on the other.
Perfect. And Tammy, so you were right. C is confidence. Just what I was trying to get the group to remember, consult and advise, but confidence is actually what we started with. The two fundamental beliefs is you got to believe you're the best person for the job. Number one, you can't think you're second best. You can't think, oh, I'm a new agent. I really don't know what I'm doing. They read you like a book, right? Number two is you got to believe that you can get the job done. And what Ken talked about in terms of his confidence, I may have done some of the similar in terms of my approach when people were, people try to lowball my personal listing. And I just thought, I said, find me another property with a lot this big, RV parking, right? AC, kitchen done. I put over 100,000 into it. Like, you're not going to find better than this. And you are, like, I wanted to say, you aren't going to pay a premium because we've done the premium to it. Now, if we didn't do these things, by all means, don't offer 900,000, come in less. And I had people trying to wheel and deal and do it. It was only 3 days, right?
To that point, you should have every upgrade and what they spent and when they put it in there, give them to them. Give them to the potential buyers, and they're gonna go. And you can even say, like, yeah, you see this, it has a brand new, or within the last 5 years, they put in a new heating and air.
Yeah.
You know what heating and air costs now? And then they start spending money. You go, look, I know it's a little higher, but you're financing your upgrades. This house is dialed. It's done.
Right.
It's not comparable to the one down the street. You have to fight the fight constantly.
Yep. No, absolutely. So, no, thank you for sharing that. Just want to welcome our newest additions over here. We got Dusty Sabaja in the back.
Dusty.
Welcome, Dusty. Thank you for letting me stand over there. You sit in your spot.
He looks like a veteran.
Look like a veteran is what I'm hearing from back here. So welcome, veteran. We got two other veterans over here, veterans, titans in the industry. Very excited to have the Soul Sisters, Tammy and Cassie. Also phenomenal people and great softball players. Cassie do some pretty amazing things. I've heard about Tammy. Heard she's great. I know, I'm sure. But Cassie, we seen her just like Dusty knows. Dusty, I think you were the coach, and you put us all on the same team. This was like 12 years ago. And she threw harder than all of us to start with. Shit, no, I'm not exaggerating. You guys think she would throw freaking missiles from third base, but she'd like, bam, wear it, and then just go and throw them out. And I just remember, I can't tell that story. I'll tell another one. There was some blood involved from an injury. I'll just leave it at that. Dusty knows exactly what I'm talking about.
He's a warrior.
She's a warrior. But no, just excited to have you two over here with us, and you'll see this is an amazing group. Great, amazing group. You're both gonna fit right in, of course. And Justin, you too. Thank you, brother. Appreciate your faith in the girls and us. And you're gonna see, man, a lot of amazing things that we do. And it's the little ripples that we were talking about. Nate was sharing his story and the impact that Nate's having on the group here, and just everybody, every single person in here is doing things that's creating ripples out there and all these amazing things that are happening. So we're all just very fortunate to have you all. Welcome to the team. You guys make yourselves at home and please get to know all these great people that are in here. But anything else you guys want to share or say to the group?
Not yet,
Not
I still
yet?
have a lot to share, but.
Okay, awesome.
Get situated, but
Yeah.
I'm excited to see where it goes and all
Yeah.
the new adventures and things that we're gonna learn.
Wonderful.
It should be fun.
Awesome.
And Justin's a fireball, he's
I-
quiet over there, but.
He's
You
only
know,
been sharing a little bit of.
He's been so polite and courteous, like honestly, we know right away when we meet people,
Yeah.
like who's gonna make it, and you've been a delight, man, I can tell you're gonna kick some butt. Yeah.
Well, real quick, now I'm putting it together, cause I kept looking at him and I'm like, I've seen him before. I met him at the open
event that
house
was here.
that you guys had together,
Yeah.
and you were the first one that came up and introduced yourself
Yep.
and stuff, so I was gonna
Yeah,
say,
thanks, man.
buddy, yeah. Well,
Yeah, awesome. And Dusty, anything you'd like to share to the group?
Not yet, just
Not yet.
excited to see a bunch of familiar faces and excited to meet some new ones and on the rock and roll.
Awesome. Well, welcome, guys. You guys, that's all I got. I'm gonna try to keep it somewhat light. We didn't get too crazy today, but yeah, we keep working on. Like I said, man, the listing process, big process. And we'll go over it, and we can even do one-on-one as well. Kind of get into some of the details, just because many of the agents here have heard phase one, phase two, and the biggest thing we talk about is price and commission. You never talk about that up front. You have to create the value first. You gotta ask the questions, that's all in phase one. So we don't move to price and commission until certain things are accomplished in the first section of it. And that's one of the key things to know. What were you gonna say?
No, I'm agreeing, the biggest thing is you walk through a home and you're asking questions and people are sharing. You know, you're asking core questions like, what does this move mean for you? Like, how's this gonna affect your family? Or why are you moving? Whatever the question, there's a series of questions and how you ask them. But as they start telling you that, they're gonna open up and they're gonna build this comfort. And a lot of people come in and sit down with a book and go, I'm great, I'm awesome, this is cool, this is what I'll do. And that doesn't work. And especially when you're competing with top agents, when you're going at luxury real estate and you're going into top things, you need to build a rapport as you walk through and ask them to share it. And the more they share, the more they open up, you'll start to discover. And what will happen is everybody's got an ego price of the home. They'll talk to their friends, they'll talk to their buddies, they'll see a Zillow, they'll look at that. They have this price that this is it. But as you start asking these questions and they start realizing, okay, well, like, this is why I gotta move. And you go, okay, why are you moving? Well, I got this job transfer. Okay. And when you have to be there, I gotta be there in like 3 months. Oh, okay. Then the next, one of the questions down the line, you go, okay, what would happen? What effects would you have in your life if it took 6 months to sell? And they're gonna go, what? What do you mean 6 months? And you go, well, let's just say it took 6 months. And they go, well, that's not good. I need to be here. I gotta have my kids they have to be in school. Now you're connecting, you're taking the ego out and you're connecting consequences to money
And time.
and time.
Yeah.
Time, consequences, and now the ego's gone. So then when you do get into the conversation of pricing, they're like understanding that's not good. This is not good. We need to be here, and this is why. It's a much easier sell as you go through. And they're not even, the other thing is once you build the rapport like that and you're going through and they're telling you, they're sharing, they're going through, and then you ask a question to them and you repeat and affirm and validate what they're saying, they're not going to have that connection with the next person that just comes in and says, hey, why are you selling? It's not the same thing. It's not the same thing. How much you charge? That's what they're going to say back to the other person. Well, 5. Okay, well, there's no connection. There's no experience. There's nothing to that. But as you go through and ask and present it properly, then go through that, it's a much different conversation. And there's a bond with you and a connection. Sometimes they'll go through and just tell you their whole life story and be so connected to you, they're like, where we signed right off the bat. So I do a whole thing, it's called the listing conversation, it's a whole class on that, with all the questions, everything, the marketing, how we present the marketing. It's a long 2-part class. Both are phenomenal listing presentations in their own way. But you gotta figure out, not everything's the same. Not every appointment's the same. There's a big difference between a referral versus, you know, internet. Those appointments are gonna be different.
Sean was gonna
Yep.
share something.
Oh, I just want to share that Brandon does the same thing in the beginning, and then this is like part 2, basically. Like he walked through the house and
Yeah.
asked the questions and
Yeah.
everything.
So there's
So you can kind of combine it, you know, make it your own.
that's what you're gonna get. It's great. You're gonna get 2 different things. They're all gonna be the same type of stuff, with different approaches.
So what, thank you for pointing it out and thank you for sharing what you did. What you'll want to do is you want to outline your listing presentation, like actually outline, try to think of what you start with and what you actually finish with and what has to happen through that process. So I give a structure that's like an outline for that. Use what you like from that, do what you're already doing, but refine your own presentation. Because I can tell you, and I shared a little bit with somebody just not too long ago, scout that I was coaching when I was in the semi office. She did 60,000 the year before. She was like, no, I have to be in your office. And she's a pretty strong personality. And I'm like, I don't know if this is going to be a good fit, right? Like I was like, I don't know. And I did actually, we had some conditions and gave her the shot. She made 270,000 that next year. The very first thing she did was refine her listing presentation and outline. So she heard our previous leaders speak. They both presented it differently. They were the 2 owners. One had his way, the other one had his way. She typed both of them up. And then I had what I learned from them and what I've learned from Ken, and then Ken has his. And then she created her own presentation at work, and she started taking listings 6%, 3.5% on her side, 2.5% on the other consistently. That's how she hit 270,000 in the next 12 months. That was a big part of it, was that. So what we teach and what we work on is figuring out how to kind of break it down to a science. So what's your seller process? When you're listing a home, from when you first get that first phone call to when you go on the appointment, to when you take the listing, to how you present, to how you handle objections, to listing the home, to, you know, stating all the different steps, but to a successful sale. And I know Dusty remembers when we worked at VCCDC together, there were certain things that we had to track. How long did it take from your very first phone call to when they actually bought a property to close? And so when we started paying attention to that, we started tracking that, and then our goal was to try to shorten that as much as we could. And we got a lot more effective and efficient with our buyers, right? So you want to develop your listing, your seller process, and then your buyer process. Those are the 2 areas that we spend a lot of time when we do these classes. That's why everybody gets something from this.
Yeah,
Including us,
the biggest
right?
things you really wanna focus on is what's important to them.
Mhm.
So you have to really discover and keep discovering what's important to them. It's not the same to everyone else. And sometimes you'll assume that you know. Like, for example, I went and expired and the agent that I was with automatically assumed that the prior agent was bad. That's what the normal, you know, knee-jerk reaction would be. Oh, the agent must have sucked. Well, no, it was his buddy, and the agent would come to find out it was the seller that was wrong. The seller was not letting anybody in, didn't want to listen to the agent, didn't listen to the pricing, didn't want to fix the house up. And he kept saying, I should have listened to my agent, should have listened to my agent as we're talking and discovering. But if you go in there thinking, oh, it's just the agent, and you just start plowing through it without knowing, you're going this way and he wants to go this way now. So you have to figure out what's important to them, and then figure out what is your value proposition.
Right.
Why should they hire you? What's going to separate you from everyone else, and what can you promise and offer them that no one else has? For example, like Nate, he's got a whole crew of people that comes in. He's got his people, and he says, "I'm going to do all this for you. I'm going to handle this. We're going to take care of this." And for a lot of people, that's a big deal.
Yeah, no, you're spot on. The discovery piece is so important, and just knowing what to do and how to separate yourself from the competition. A lot of it is through questions. But when you master the ability to get information, and it's not just from the client, it's from other agents and who have pending sales, and we'll talk about that, like Azure Trucking, what's under contract, what's pending. Those are more important right now than past sales. You still got to know all the solds. You still have to know what the highest sold was in that particular area and neighborhood, because if they know it and you don't know it, you're already done. Because our job is for them to look at us as the authority and the market expert. That's what we're trying to create. There's ways you can do that with certain data, especially based on when you read what personality style that book, Versatile Selling, talks about that. So that you identify who you're speaking to, so you know how to present. Because it's not about just only connecting with the people that are like you, right? If that were the case, I'm mostly going to be connected to analyticals, people who analyze, overanalyze things, a little slower in processing, right? That is my strength, and they're difficult people to work with, especially for other personality styles. But you have to be able to adapt once you listen to them. Do they speak fast? Do they speak slow, right? Are they more of a teller, or do they ask more questions? More driver, right? More kind of listen and process. So you have to know who you're speaking to, and then you got to be the leader they want you to be, right? So it's not treating others how we want to be treated. That's what most people say, golden rule. It's treating others how they want to, but I got to identify what they want first and then be that leader for them. And then it just all starts taking off, right? So there was a lot in that, but thank you guys all. I know we said we'd wrap it up 15 minutes ago. This is what happens.
We get carried away.
But thank you guys. Welcome to the group. I don't know if you guys want to do one quick group photo. We can hold off on posting it if you need to for anybody. But thank you guys for hopping online. Shut this down.